Okay, welcome back. So I'm curious, I don't really know how much time you've spent on this land. I know Kendall's probably spent quite a bit. Is it quite new for the rest of you, or do you mind if we just quickly go around and if you don't mind starting?
Yeah,
with that
sure.
bit?
Specific to the site.
Yeah,
here?
to this site particularly, yeah.
Okay, truthfully, I think I've been here maybe 6 times
Okay.
in total.
And so how was your reintroduction? Did you?
Very, very nice.
Yeah?
Yeah, even the walk down, I just like, it looks beautiful. Like,
Yeah.
It looks like spun gold right now.
It does, yeah.
Okay.
And do you have any, when I mentioned about how you orientate yourself to a place, did that trigger anything in you? Have you got any ways that you kind of get to know a place, or?
Yeah, I generally explore on foot.
Yeah, so you go for a
anywhere
wander.
I go, yeah, I just go for kind of like those meandering
Mhm.
walks.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully there's something along the way that
Mm-hmm.
is
Nice.
interesting, but yeah, definitely on foot walking.
Great. Thanks.
I've been here many times when it was a golf course.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah, so it's so interesting to see it now.
Yeah.
And then over the last 2 years, many times.
Yeah.
But it's been a while, and I've been coming here and going to the clubhouse to pick things up and then leaving. And so to take this walk and come up here
Mm-hmm.
and really spend some time to stop and listen and look and smell, it was really lovely.
Great. That's really great to hear. And do you, like I say, I'm trying to sort of just trigger off those ideas about practices you might have for orientating yourself in a place, for settling in a place, something you might be able to share with others, perhaps. Is there something?
I'm much like Shay. I always like to go for an explore.
Yeah.
And go wander around on foot and just explore where I am. And then I generally cook something.
Yeah, cooking helps, doesn't it? Yeah. Kendall?
Yeah, it was neat. I think when you said, oh, you probably have a favorite tree or something, and I was thinking about that, I don't really have a spot that I like go back to or that have that kind of grounding aspect to it, which is interesting. And also, I think spending a lot of time out here when we first got the site and when we were transforming it, and like thinking about sitting in this roundhouse and just like seeing all of the volunteers and the contractors and people and just that process of building structures like this. And just seeing the land transform, and then now being at the stage of like imagining what's to come with the new development and what we built with the trails back there, and so just there's so much more to connect to, regardless of how many times and different ways that you've been out here. I think I was thinking about that a lot, and every time that I'm out here either with you doing this mindfulness or doing programmatics kind of things, like slowing down and actually seeing what's here is such a different experience than doing something on the site, and just like that being versus doing, I guess.
Yeah.
And orientate. I like taking my shoes off and my socks off and
Yeah.
put my feet in the
Bare
grass,
feet
like,
is great,
anywhere
yeah.
I am.
Yeah.
Even if it's somewhere where there's just a small patch of grass, like I like doing
Yeah.
that, just feeling like rooting down that grounding.
Nice.
Yeah, and seeing the colors. I'm a very visual person, so I love looking at the different like vibrancies.
Yeah. Yeah, lots of things there. All these tools are things that you can use yourselves, but also, of course, you can share with other people. You know, perhaps you need to take your shoes off. Perhaps you need to dangle your feet in the water. Perhaps you need to see how many colours of green you can see. You know, there's probably 30 at least. There's probably 20 in this little thing of moss here, you know. Incredible amount of detail in the world. Fascinating. Yeah, thanks.
I, kind of similar to Ellen, spend quite a bit of time out here, generally going to the clubhouse and back, but I feel like I've been fortunate enough to spend a good amount of time back here too.
Yeah.
So the way that I wanted to land here was exploring kind of places you're not necessarily supposed to go, and I guess that is resonating with how I explore the world. Is I like the little interesting nooks and crannies, and I'm like, what's that? Like, let's go check that out. So going up into the neighbor's property, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Past the line. And I didn't really think about it till I came back, but I do like finding treasures. I always like having something kind of tactile to hold on to ground myself, because I find I definitely wander, and I like to sit and pause and observe for a while. But if I stay for too long, my mind wanders, and so then I physically will wander a little bit, find something new to focus on. And so it's kind of like an ebb and flow for my focus. And I think that's also the way I kind of land in a space, is kind of a wander, take it in, wander, take it in.
Yeah. And it sounds like a very natural process for you. And like, I think most people do have one. You just have to kind of think about it. Most of the time, you know, it's not about discovering things, it's about uncovering things. Actually, I know how I settle in a place. I take a wander, I sit, I touch something, I put my feet in the water, I look at the sky. You know, we all have that, but we perhaps don't. It's like that knowledge that we have that we perhaps don't actually access a lot. So it's really useful kind of process to talk about it and to think about how, because then you can help other people do it. You know, you can help other people feel that this is some place that they can go and explore the nooks and crannies safely, of course. Or they can just sit, or they can go and dangle their feet in the water again safely. One of my favourite places is the rock. As you go down, you go over the sort of marshy bit where all the birds are down there, and then you go up onto that rock, and there's a place to sit up there. It's a very special place because it's a vantage point, but it's got different environments in it, and it's always interesting. There's movement on the water and the light and everything like that. So it's just so special to have a relationship with those places. Thanks.
I haven't been up to the Roundhouse probably since November,
Mm-hmm.
but I've been to the clubhouse
Mm-hmm.
through COVID several times, and then prior to that, I've been up here a number of times. But I had to really think about how, like, I can think of a lot of spaces in nature that very much feel like home, and
Yeah.
I'm trying to still uncover that a little bit.
Okay.
I think for me, really early in the morning
Yeah.
helps me.
Dawn
I
is
like it when like there's only wildlife
Mm-hmm.
emerging. So camping is really helpful, like sleeping in a place and waking up really
Mhm.
early. And yeah, the same as you can, I like take my shoes off.
Mm-hmm.
I like that.
Maybe you need to have a staff camping up here then, so everybody can wake up. I camped here once when I did family roots, and we camped down this side, down here where the beavers are, and that was such a great thing. I woke up in the night because I heard this shloop, and it was one of the beavers going into the pond down the back there, and it was just like. And then I got up in the morning, and one of the women who was on the camping with us, she was already up, and she was already watching otters and birds, and you know, like that early morning kind of activity that you get in
That
animal
would be
life.
me. I like them to be early.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. Thank you.
I've been here quite a bit. I've mostly been on program here though,
Mm-hmm.
or like in the clubhouse, and I feel like when I'm on program, I'm not doing things of my own accord, like I'm just kind of following along. And I think that the way that I orient myself to a place is by navigating through that landscape on my own,
Yeah.
and navigating myself to the highest point. So I feel really lucky to have gone to what is, I think, maybe the highest point of this piece of property, up,
Yeah.
like on the cliffs, on the bluffs, on the trail building workshop that we did. But whenever I go to any new place, I like seek out the highest point of land and beeline for it.
Yeah.
Because it really helps me understand where I'm at in
Yeah.
relation to the rest of
Yeah.
the landscape. And I really like especially every new vantage point around here, because I know it so well. That I
Yeah.
can get to a new one and then like reference the other ones that I've been to.
Yeah, that's really cool. Right. I didn't know the highest point was in there, so that was something I must go there one day.
I don't even really remember how to get there.
Somebody knows how to get there, that's for sure.
To bring it back.
Great, thank you.
I feel kind of lucky going last because somebody said something where I was like, oh yeah, I do that. Like, yeah, I like to take my shoes off. Oh yeah, I like to get up really early.
Yeah.
And all those things play a factor. But yeah, walking and just like getting some distance and getting some solitude, I think are pretty big for me.
Mhm.
And I like to find something that I like to tell myself is like a bit of a secret that like maybe other people haven't seen or only I've seen. So it's usually like something that's moving, like an animal, where I'm like, I'm the only person that saw that deer there. And that kind of makes me feel, I don't know, more tied to a place.
Yeah, well, which is what I mentioned at the beginning, like we all have our individual relationship with the place and that kind of thing. That's just a little joy that you can give yourself every time you go to a place. Hey, did anybody else see that raven or that little tiny nuthatcher that was creeping up this huge tree? That's like, you know, it's such a precious thing to have. And again, I think that's really nice thing to be able to share with clients or participants. It's like, look for something that you think no one else has noticed, you know, even if it's just the way the pattern goes on the bark of a tree or the way the light's moving through the leaves or something, you know, because it gives them something really personal or a way of finding something really personal, which is really nice. So fantastic. I feel like we should have a workshop on like how to land in a place. Thank you. I'm going to shut this off now.